us as the consumer, us as voters in this country, need to look at everything from a position of, what if that isn't real? What if that is true? What if?
This is about control. Everybody knows, everyone complies. We're the kinds of pros. I don't need a plane. I just hit the road. I do what I want. I can't sell my soul. Market about to crash. This is what you chose. Ruining the country. I've been best to go. You gon' take the mark. I take never roles. I'm a man of God. I can never fold.
Welcome to the Protect Your Purpose podcast, where we talk whiskey, business, friends, family, and freedom. I'm your host, Matt Marchese, and this is my co-host, Zach. I need to start preparing these because they're all beat. Zach Grady, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, what's up, dude?
You were Zach the Mustache Grady last episode with
was
Keith Yackey.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
But you don't have a mustache. I mean, you've got a mustache. It's just accompanied by a beard now.
yeah. For now,
Gray beard.
maybe we'll bring it back.
The mustache?
Do you think I should color the beard? Do you color your beard?
No, I don't color my beard, and no, you should not bring back the mustache. Okay. I don't know any nicer.
No on all fronts.
No on all fronts. But I do like the salt and pepper Johnny Bravo, Zach, that you usually bring. I believe that is the most authentic version.
That's my wheelhouse. Right
That's your
there.
wheelhouse, yeah, man.
Okay.
That's your ideal self.
Your opinion is noted. I don't know if I will.
What are you just gonna start to drink? You're just drinking? You're never gonna intro?
I'm excited.
Okay. See, all right, well, Zach, what are we drinking today?
Matthew,
Let's
you
go.
pulled this out of one of your barrels.
That's right.
The American Purpose 14-month.
That's right. Yes, as promised a couple episodes ago, I went, will you do me a favor and pour me, you got the rye or is that the bourbon?
This is a bourbon.
Will you do me a favor and pour me some of that there bourbon?
Okay.
Yeah, while you're pouring. Yes, as promised, a couple of shows ago, easy, bro. We have a lineup to drink. How much are we drinking today? We got a
Those
short
are deep.
We got a short
Those
show.
are deep.
Well,
You're going to need some floaties to get in that one.
it's going to be a fun rest of our day, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, as promised a couple of shows ago, I had gone to the distillery, pulled some barrel or some samples from some barrels. They were just random. That's how we kind of do it. We pick at random, make sure it wasn't one we pulled before, or see if we got any of those little honey holes, those little tasty ones. I've already tried this, but first, I guess we're going to drink the bourbon, huh? At your choice. And then we might tap into some rye that we pulled directly off the still as a nice sample. Mm-hmm. And then another, I think maybe a 14-month rye.
That's
out
what
of
you
the
got
deal.
here.
I think so. Is it a 14-month rye?
Yep.
So 2 14-monthers, totally random.
And then a baby.
That's my favorite, man. It comes off of that still hot.
Yeah.
But
I got enough hair on my chest, dude. I don't need it.
But dude, it's really good. It's really good.
We'll find out.
Well, I guess it's going to be up to you, but I'm excited. Cheers. Happy to be here with you in the studio.
Same.
Salute. Let's drink some American Purpose bourbon now, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Sweet vanilla tones. And fiery all at the same time. What is the proof on this thing?
90-something?
No, 120.
Ooh.
120.8.
Dude, I don't know. It's so good.
Dude, to be so young, to be so fresh, green, to be such a little baby bourbon, and to be so good.
It's so good, but yeah, dude,
it's fiery and delicious, man. I'm pumped about it.
it still gives you that burn, but you can still taste the sweet tones.
Oh yeah. Natural. That's because we're doing it right, man. We've got this process dialed in. I'm super excited. I have again, we're producing at one of my buddies' facilities while we build out ours, which is another topic we can talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have actually promised to talk about that in one of the previous shows, sort of what the latest and greatest, up to datest on the distillery.
Nice.
Oh, that was fresh.
A little Dr. Seuss action
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Little Mother Goose. Doctor, speaking of goose. Anyway, so yeah, the distillery here at the ranch is moving right along process-wise. We're doing a lot of building out of the property, a lot of preparation for the distilling operation. Preparation, operation, Mother Goose, Dr. Seuss. Man, well, look at us. It's rhymey, schmimey.
You're a poet and just don't know
He's
it.
a poet, and he knew it, and he knows it. Yeah, man, I'm really excited about the happenings with the distillery. I enlisted a new consulting firm, which I've gotten the business to this point, and for those listeners who don't know, essentially, I set out about 4 years ago to launch a distilling business. Some of it's kind of been a secret, some non-disclosure type stuff, and holding out on some of the business plan and business operation until I get things going. I spent about the first 2 years dreaming, really just kind of learning and dreaming. About 4 years and some change ago, I decided I was going to open a distillery. And then, but I didn't know shit about distilling. Like, I didn't know anything about the business. All I knew was from the perspective of a consumer, which is that I like whiskey.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah. And
How
then
do I make my own of
yeah.
this?
This is pretty cool. That's kind of how it went. The story goes, I don't know if I've told this story on the show before. Maybe
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. Well, I'll tell it again, I guess. Why not? Basically, I was in a Army school. I was at Fort Knox at senior leader course. And basically, nothing to do there on the weekends and evenings except for whiskey.
Go to Louisville.
Yeah. Fort Knox is right outside of Louisville and in the land of bourbon and the Bourbon Trail. So I started going to different distilleries just for, to kill time. And I liked whiskey, pick up some new, I don't know, hard to find, maybe allocated shit, and check out the distilling operations. And then I went to Maker's Mark, which at the time I considered my go-to.
A lot do, I feel like.
Yeah, and I went to Maker's Mark. They make a great product. I really love it. But I went there and I went, this is the Maker's Mark? Like, I was very underwhelmed. Beautiful facility, awesome ran business, obviously, making a great product and a wonderful brand, lots of history.
But you didn't think it seemed too hard.
No, dude. I looked at him like, what? I could run this business. So I immediately, my wheels got spinning, as you know it would. From a business perspective, I'm like, this is pretty awesome. Like, I could totally run this business. Not a whole lot of employees. They make their own product. I've always been interested in manufacturing my own product, yada, yada. So I decided literally at that moment, like that was a possibility. Maybe I'll want to do that. And then that night I went home, went to sleep, and I literally had a dream. I had a dream that me, my family, and my friends were running. It was very weird. And I remember it vividly. It was the Maker's Mark operation. Okay. It was their business, and all the faces that I had seen on the distillery tour and it was that same scene, only those people were not them anymore. It was our faces of like my family and my friends.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
I don't know if I heard that story.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it was the craziest shit. So I'm in Fort Knox. I've got PT formation early in the morning. I got to wake up 05, get my shit ready, get out the door. And at 5 a.m., I decided, like, I woke up going, holy shit, that was the most crazy dream of my life. So realistic. I was running this distillery. All of us were running all of the positions, the tasting room, the retail center, the restaurant, the tours. They're like air conditioner or something was down while I was there. So they did this like progressive tasting tour where we did tastings outside for it was super fucking dope.
Oh, yeah.
So it was very impactful. And during my dream, we were doing it and it felt like, I don't know, felt like maybe it was a sign. But it was so real and so impactful that at 5 a.m, I decided I was going to call my wife and wake her up back home and tell her. So I call her and she's like, what the fuck?
Which is an hour behind us.
Right. It was probably 4:30 in the morning by this time. And I'm like, I don't want to forget this dream. And I want to tell her and I want to talk about it. You forget your dream if you let it go. So I'm like, I got to call her. So probably 4:30 in the morning her time, I'm on the phone with her telling her, I had a dream. And she's like, okay, like, and?
She's like, not this
And I'm like,
again.
we're going to open a distillery. Mind you, prior to this moment at 4:30 in the morning, she's receiving this call. I had never once considered, mentioned, thought about.
This is completely out of the blue.
This is right. This is out of my ass at 4:30 in the morning from the Fort Knox, Kentucky. I call my wife and she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I just wanted to call you and tell you I had the craziest dream. We were running Maker's Mark, and I'm telling you, we have to do it. Like, we have to do it. We can do it. I have to do it. And she's like, I'll never forget her response is, you are fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, I'm like, look, that might be true, but just remind me later. I have to tell you about this dream. And that's really where it all started. So then, like, the next day, and that day I ended up telling her the story, and the next day, like, it began. I'm like, well, I started telling the guys that I was in school with, I'm like, I'm opening a distillery. They're like, what? What are you talking about, dude? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I decided it. And I don't know why, they kind of believed me. And they're like, well, how do you know? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. All I know is that I like whiskey. So from that moment on, I decided I know I want to do this, so I have to start learning. So I did that. I spent about 2 years just drinking whiskey, buying whiskey.
I mean, to your credit, you've done a lot. Like you know what you're doing at this point from all the, like, you went to the schoolhouse.
Yeah, man.
You're constantly doing research. I mean, obviously tasting product is part of that, but you're in books, you're in videos, you're in all kinds of stuff, man. So
yeah. And that was it. I came home immediately. Like I went, I probably during that time, the rest of my maybe 3 weeks or whatever it was at school, at training, I went and I bought like every bottle of whiskey that I didn't have that I could get there, packed up multiple like suitcases and hard cases and like combat foot lockers with padding and bubble wrap, shipped all my shit home. Lost a couple along the way, a couple glass bottles smashed in my suitcases. And essentially, I came home and just started buying whiskey and adding to my collection. And my wife's going, what are you? I'd come home with 6 or 8, 10 bottles at a time. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I told you.
It's research, honey.
It's research and development. And she's like, you're nuts. And she probably, definitely was like, you're just making excuses so you can buy a bunch of whiskey. And I'm going, no, I have to learn.
I promise you.
Right. I have to learn everything there is to know about this shit. If I'm going to make it and I'm going to be a part of this community, I have to establish myself as an expert. And how do I do that? Well, you become an expert. You jump with both feet in and you learn your shit. And then, so that lasted about, 2 years of me basically studying the products and the process and the system. And ultimately, I ended up going to Moonshine University about a year later.
What it's called.
Yep. Moon U, which is super dope. If anyone is interested in learning more about the product.
Yeah, you would recommend it even if you're not necessarily wanting to start a distillery.
Oh yeah, if you were a hobby, I mean, if you're, it costs like thousands of dollars to attend classes. There is that. So I mean, if you're serious about your hobby though, and you really want to learn, I mean, it's the epicenter for distilled spirits and the network and the group. I mean, the classes are taught by, the likes of, the head master distiller, fermentation expert, owner of Wilderness Trail, the assistant master distiller at Woodford Reserve, like the top names in the industry are teaching us what we learn about the business. So it's a really fantastic deal. That's where I came. Anyway, long story shorter than it could be. Fast forward several years now, 4 years from the dream, the literal dream, like Martin Luther King, only maybe
whiskey, not equality.
Yeah.
Equality for whiskey.
Yeah. Like Martin Luther King, only not really. A little different.
Although different.
I'm not drawing a direct line from myself to Dr. Kang. Okay. But here we sit. we went into the business planning phase. I grew it for about 2 years as far as the business plan, growing inventory. I started producing with my buddy about 2 years ago, using his facility to make our product. While we continue our business plan this way, when we do launch, as we are proving today, we're going to launch with a delicious and drinkable product. Yes, that we made, and I take a lot of pride in it. And now I've gotten to the point where I haven't raised any money. 100% of what we have done so far has been self-funded by us. And now I'm to the point where I'm gonna seek out some investors, and we have the property here,
get this thing rolling,
and we're gonna get this thing to the next level. So that included me bringing on a new consultant, which we actually met with yesterday to start our sprint. And we are off to the races, man. I'm super fucking pumped about it.
Dude, the dream is real.
It's coming to life, dude.
Ever.
Can you believe it?
That's
like
insane.
after all these years, it's always just felt like, here's what I'll say about this. And I met with my EO guys the other day, and me and a couple of my buddies were standing out overlooking the pasture, big, beautiful American flag, pond. And he was like, man, I cannot believe that you're doing this. Like, it's unbelievable, because years ago, I was telling them this is a dream, and now it's all kind of coming to fruition. And we ended up going into a little conversation about that, and about the patience that I didn't know was going to be required from me, that I don't naturally possess. For starters, I'm a very impatient person. I wanted this. I mean, when I went to whiskey school, when I first got there, very much the first thing they tell you is, if you try to rush this business, you're either going to go broke or go crazy. They said, it's basically an 18-month to 14-month or whatever it is to 2-year process to open the doors. Of course, I listened to that. I'm like, challenge accepted, bitch. I'm going to do it in 12. This lesson in this business is something that if I could share, I don't know that I'll be able to find the words, but if I could share the experience with people on patience and literally seeking out and driving ways to seek out your dreams. I mean, I've grown these other businesses into, somewhat successful businesses. I don't like to, we're nowhere near the top of the mark, but we're driving, and we're doing really well on some of them. But this one has been sort of the chase, the dream, the big dream that I hope to someday, fulfill and change the world with, man.
And we've talked about that on previous podcasts. Just the society we live in today is just instant gratification.
Yeah,
you can literally have TikTok stars go famous overnight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
One video hits the airwaves that pops off, and but nobody appreciates or respects the grind. Like, Frisella talks about it all the time. Anybody who's created a successful business talks about the beginning, 1 to 10 years of that business, and not taking a paycheck. Like you said, you haven't made $1 off any of this yet. You know what I mean?
Opposite of that,
Yes.
I've literally spent millions of dollars.
But as you see things like slowly starting to progress,
Yeah, man.
There's going to be that day where this thing just comes back to you tenfold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And without the patience, you may have just flushed hundreds of thousands of dollars down the toilet and blown this whole thing up.
Dude, you were on the call yesterday or the day before, whatever day it was, on our on my group coaching call, where I was talking about another instance where basically as I sit here and I try to help people, that's why we do this show, so we can help people understand purpose, finding purpose, of course, serving and protecting. No, go figure.
Right.
But understanding what it takes to really fulfill meaning and purpose in life, and how actually achievable it is, so we can, give that gift to people, and hopefully they can understand it, convert it into how it relates to their everyday life, and what their hopes and what their dreams are, and understand that it's possible. But during that call, I was talking about how years ago, man, probably 2014, I think it was 2014, where I sold my house, sold took the equity in my house, which was, I don't know, maybe $60,000. Took the equity in my house, moved my family with 2 little kids, a 2 and a 3-year-old, into, you remember, you were there, a 2-bedroom apartment in North Sioux, 3rd floor, no elevator, had to hike my ass up, lived in 2 separate cities from my wife, where we literally went down to zero to start our business. I mean, that was not long ago, and took the equity from our home to invest a portion of it into kind of cash flowing our bills while I got rid of my old company, left my partnership, moved into, went back into an active status into the Army Reserves, try and get a little bit of supplemental income, and started grinding. Used some of that money as a down payment for a business, figured all that out. I now get to sit here and say, I'm not telling you some shit that Gary Vee told me. I'm not telling you some shit that I heard in some Tony Robbins fucking get together or speaking engagement. I'm telling you shit that I did myself. And I know from personal experience the path to get from A to B. And now I'm looking at this whiskey business and going, holy shit, dude, is it possible? I mean, the answer is yes, it is possible. And not only is it possible, it's fucking happening. Like we're point of no return. We're here.
Yeah.
We got whiskey, we got property, we got equipment, we got shit. We're like, it's happening. But someday, like you said, is this going to be, a $1 billion business that I'm going to be able to tell this story and say, all it took was the patience. I knew nothing about the business. And I spent 4 full years in what is essentially planning. I mean, research, education. If I can grow this thing to $1 billion business, I mean, how impactful is that for young aspiring entrepreneurs, middle class family men and women or whoever's to say, hey, if this dipshit can go from nothing of a dream into that process, hopefully they can understand the input levels that it took.
Also, what's going to be cool about this story is you started it later in life too.
Bro, what are you trying to say?
I'm just saying,
say
man.
I'm old?
No, a lot of people think they get to a certain age and it's too late.
Hell yeah.
I should have started this years ago. I should have done something years ago, but it's not.
Hell no.
It's never too late.
No, dude.
I mean, you think about, there's so many people who didn't hit fame or become rich until later on in life because they just kept grinding, and an idea finally stuck, But
yeah, I mean, to that point, I'm essentially starting the business now. I mean, to me, it's laughable to say I started the business because in my mind, I started the business that day.
Right.
That 4 a.m. that morning, I started the business. That was just the process. But, I was 37 maybe, I guess, at the time. So to have a dream and know nothing at 37.
That's scary, dude.
Dude, Lindy and I went out last night to this small town bar here, and we ended up just chatting with the waitress she's got a young kid. I think she said she's 28. And she made the comment, she's going back to school or something. She said she's getting too old. And she's pigeonholed because she was going to finish school. Like, it's too late to start something else or to start over. And I'm like,
stop it.
Get the fuck.
Stop
You're
it.
28 years old. You're what? You're 30. I'm 41. Starting a new business. Literally, our grand opening we're hoping to have at the end of this year. I'm going to be fucking 42 by the time we even have a grand opening. Yeah, man. And guess what? If I grow the thing and I spend the next 10 years grinding my ass off and building another one, I'll only be 52, dude. Like, and if I spend 15 years,
and you may have another dream in between there and want to start something else.
I will. I will. So yeah, dude, I'm again not a brag or a boast, but basically take that value for what it is. I knew nothing about this business, and I just got told by one of the top, if not the top consultant and his entire team of fucking 10 or 12 or whatever he's got, 7 on a call, that they were blown away and impressed at what I've accomplished. They asked me, how long have I been in the business? And I said, am I really even in the business?
Technically 0 days.
Yeah, 0 days or whatever. And they couldn't believe the amount that what I had learned in such a short period of time. But like anything I do, man, fucking obsess over it and spend all of my time and all of my waking hours and energy that I have available. Of course, I've got my kids and my other business and all the other shit I got going on, but
well, being
let that be a lesson.
Not to blow your head up any more than it
Please
already
do.
is, but being I feel like I've had like a right seat ride on your journey. I mean, I've been with you for most of it, and I've told you this before. Even when you brought up the whiskey thing initially, I was like, man, if Matt Marchese has an idea, man, I'm in. If he's passionate about it and wants to do it, well, what can I do? I mean, I'm here. I want to help. I want to help it grow because I know there's no stopping you once you get something in your mind like that. So I'm like, well, no doubt it's going to be multi-million, upwards of $1 billion company if that's what he wants it to be. So let me jump on them coattails and help out where I can.
You know, dude, I appreciate you. This is not a script. I do not pay Zach to say nice things to me, and most of the time he actually insults me and talks about how much taller and more masculine he is than me.
Facts. Not a better businessman, though.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words, but that comes with, you know, if we're being honest, that comes with a lot of doubt. You know, a lot of self-doubt. There have been times, and I'm not talking like 2 or 3 times throughout the last couple years. I'm talking regularly, monthly, sometimes weekly, sometimes daily, where I have to like look in the metaphorical mirror and I ask myself and I doubt myself and I literally say out loud, or sometimes I'll tell my wife, like, I don't know, or some of my business colleagues and friends and companions and coaches and mentors, and say things like, I'm not cut out for this, or I don't know if I have what it takes to do this, or I don't know, like, I doubt myself and I question whether or not I'll be able to do it, or if I'm making mistakes, or if I'm going to ruin everything that I have going that is good. Am I going to shit on all of that? Am I chasing a dream that's a what do they call it? Like a pipe dream? What do they call it? Pipe dream. Yeah, you get it. Am I chasing bullshit? Can I do it? And I doubt, and I doubt, and I doubt, and I deal with imposter syndrome. And dude, reality is, if you have a dream and if you really want to pursue it, just understanding that that's a part of the process. And that's what I have to remind myself. I literally tell myself the same shit that I tell the audience, same shit that I tell my coaching group, same thing that I tell my employees, same thing I tell my kids, my family members, same thing I tell my friends, same thing I tell my one-on-ones. Like, anyone that I talk to, I tell them the same thing. You have to decide what you want in life and then decide realistically, what does it take? And then decide, do you want to do what it takes?
Right.
Not, do you want to be rich? Not, do you want to have a whiskey distillery? Not, do you want to, be famous? You want to be a pro athlete? Sure. Okay. What's that going to take? Well, it's going to take every ounce of your flesh and your blood and your heart and your soul and your time and your work ethic and your heart to put forth towards that goal to be the best of the best in the best of, the industry in the world. You want to play at the highest, most elite level of that. Okay. Do you want to spend, and what does that really look like? Like, you don't get to have friends. You don't get to go out and drink on this and this. You don't get to go out on Saturday night. You want to be a doctor? Cool. Guess what? I've got a really good friend who's now a surgeon, a great surgeon at that. I remember, that's what since he was 10, 12 years old, he used to walk around the neighborhood and be like, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor, Mr. Marchese. I'm going to be a doctor. They called my dad used to call him Dr. Reese when he was like 12. And Reese set his sights on it when he was a young kid. And guess what? We were all out in college at the bar, drinking, staying up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Where was Reese? Locked in his room, studying organic chemistry 2 at Florida State, trying to become the top of his class, which he was, and become a surgeon. That's what it took. I didn't want to do that shit. Could I have? I don't know. Maybe. He's a super smart dude. Probably not. But you have to decide what it takes. And then for me, full circle back to what I started to say is, I understand that that's a part of the process. Self-doubt is a part of the process. Me questioning my own ability is a part of my process. Me questioning the moves that I am going to make and have made is a part of the process. Me having, anxiety and fear. Fucking, dude, I'm telling you, fear. So you sit across the table from me and say, when Matt Marchese says he's gonna do something, he's gonna do it. But that comes that's a heavy weight that I put on my own back. And fear is one of the biggest challenges that I know, because most of my friends are entrepreneurial spirited or entrepreneur, they're creators. They're doing. And we all feel that time the bigger the goal, the bigger the vision, the bigger the plan, the bigger the action, the bigger the shit, the bigger the fear,
but
the bigger the doubt.
Once again, we've talked about it again on the podcast. That's what separates the people that make it from the people that don't. When those thoughts start creeping into your mind, what do? When your back is against the wall, when you think you can't, when you're scared, what do? You guys that have created businesses, keep pushing and get through those feelings. Yeah. Whereas somebody else, that's where they quit and they die, and the dream or goal dies with them at that point.
Dude, it's the same thing. You have 20. How many years in the Army?
22.
22 years in the Army. Deployments, leadership roles, challenges that you've put forth. When you want to accomplish big things and you want to do hard things, that's a part of it.
Right.
Like doubt. Fear is a part of it.
If it isn't something to be scared of, it's probably not anything worth talking about anyway.
Sure.
It's not that big of a goal if you're not freaking out about it.
Triathlon.
Yeah.
You afraid?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm afraid of that shit. I'm deathly afraid, especially that swim.
You and me both, dude.
You're afraid of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, man. Listen, if you want to accomplish big things, you're going to be afraid. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Not to go. I just want to break this from like the biggest possible scale that I know personally down to whatever the most relatable is, because I think this is a real challenge. Sacrifice and fear. Facing the sacrifice and facing the fear. If you're willing to make those sacrifices and do what it takes, are you willing and able to overcome the self-doubt and the fear? As Goggins or whoever call it, your inner bitch voice.
Yep.
Are you going to be able to overcome that? Or are you going to literally talk yourself out of something that would change your life? And we just did it with the 100-hour fast. Mm-hmm. Our buddy Jay did a 7-day, which you had done before. Dude, the people that I talked to in my little ecosphere where they're like, man, I would do that, but man, I would die. It's the same exact thing. It's the same shit. Like, no, you wouldn't die. You'd actually probably thrive. And would it be hard? Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want the outcome? Do you want the results? Of course. Do you want to put in the work? Of course. But what you're doing is you're letting fear.
Talking yourself out of it.
Yeah, you're talking yourself out of something good that you in your heart. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You should do it. You should challenge yourself and push yourself. And that's just the way I feel on my business shit. Anyway, that's what's going on with the whiskey business. We've got a lot of really good shit coming. End of this year is our plan for our launch date. I may do, as soon as we can, do a pre-launch limited release. We've got some barrels that are about 8 years old that I purchased, that are amazing balls. That I may do some limited release stuff along the way, but either way, we're making moves, man. We're moving and shaking. Big things yet to come. If you're interested in the whiskey business, in being a barrel investor, where you can invest some money and make a good return on that, not an equity investor, but I mean, any investor. If you're interested in being an investor in the whiskey business here in the upcoming months, I would say the next 6 weeks or so, I will begin my investment
I'm listening.
process. Yeah. So reach out. Let me know. I mean, if you're interested in being an investor and you're listening to this damn show, and if you want to be taken seriously, there's no doubt in my mind you will find your way to me. I'm not that hard to find.
Nope.
I'm not that difficult to get in touch with, contrary to some of the popular belief.
Now, will you contact back?
It depends.
That's another question.
Dude, what? I feel like that's another dig. What'd I do to you today?
No.
Listen, there was something I want to talk about. Let's pivot off of this.
Pivot.
Let's pivot. Pivot! Let's pivot off of this.
Okay.
I'm glad we got to share a little bit of the story, the background. That's nice to document that.
I don't even know if I knew all of that, so that's cool.
Well,
And just to see where things are at now.
all the shit I've talked to you over the last 10
I never heard about the dream.
You never heard the dream?
Maybe I have. Maybe I've forgotten.
You probably just don't listen to the shit I say because you're like,
Stop it.
Here goes Matt again.
I just complimented you.
Yeah, you did. I appreciate that. That compliment doesn't go unnoticed. Before we go on, I want to kind of preface this. I am planning on I'm changing up my momentum. I'm changing up my whole, which is a part of my New Year deal. I decided that we were willy-nilly. We started this thing. We were kind of going at it like blindfolded, spinning around, throwing darts blindfolded at a dartboard and hoping to hit bullseyes. We hit a couple bullseyes. We did really well, but I'm dialing in, again, working with another team to try and figure out process and how to really dial in our content creation for the upcoming year. Hopefully this quarter I get it wrapped up, but what I've decided is that we're going to do a what if. I'm going to take a what if approach. I'm going to start my shorts, my reels with what if, try and hook the audience in and hopefully deliver some good value and some good content on what if.
Yes.
Also, another reason why I want to do this is because I'm sick of sitting here, even though I know and believe wholeheartedly that what I'm telling you a lot of the time is fact. Like it's not debatable. There's no fiction. It's fact. If you can just open your eyes, then you will see it. We call that awake in our world. In the others' world, they call that conspiracy theorist. We just call that not blind and not easily fooled by people who are trying to fool us and are doing a pretty darn good job. But the what if approach, I think, will be better. I'm hoping will be better received to try and promote creative and new thought for audience members who maybe don't all the way believe that that what I'm saying even could be possible. So instead of me saying we didn't go to the moon, like we didn't go to the moon, or we went to the moon maybe, but they're lying to us about the photos are faked or whatever, my position could be. Instead of me saying, nope, the government doesn't have our best interests, I'm going to approach that with, what if we didn't go to the moon? What if that was a lie? What if? And I'm hopeful that will promote better, stronger conversation and not be so, direct and shutting down other perspectives on those topics. I think it's important to open up two-way conversation, so I'm hopeful to do that.
I was going to say, it does lead to more of a conversation than just this is the way it is and shut up.
Yeah, even though I do believe that if you think that picture of that like lunar lander, if you believe that thing actually flew to the moon and landed and then took off, you are a fucking idiot.
What if, though?
Right. But what if? You know what I'm saying? So no, I want to take sort of a more of a what if approach, because the truth is that, man, they've spun such an elaborate web, like such a difficult web of information for us to sift through at this point, that even people that are, quote, awake, that claim they know what's going on with technology, with deep fakes, with AI, with this and that, like it's impossible. And we have to look at everything critically. Us as the consumer, us as voters in this country need to look at everything from a position of, what if that isn't real? What if that is true? What if? And that's all things. The things that we talk about on the show, the things that we've had to have talked about on the show, the things that Donald Trump has said, the things that Donald Trump will say, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, our, news anchors, former presidents, like all people, me, what you should be taking what I say and converting it yourself to a what if. What if what Matt is saying is true? What if? What if what Matt is saying isn't true? What if? But I'm going to start doing that for him.
I like it.
So, what if?
Here we go.
What if?
There we go.
All right. Before we get started on the what ifs, I have a clip that I want to play.
Okay.
And it's awesome. Okay. This clip is from a guy, okay, who, here it is. His name is The Matt Friend on Instagram. The Matt Friend. So Matt Friend is his name. I guess he's a comedian. And he does this Donald Trump impersonation, okay? And basically what we're looking at here is an impersonation of a comedian doing an impersonation of Donald Trump reacting negatively to other people's Donald Trump impersonations.
All right.
So track with that.
Let me wrap my head around this.
This is a guy doing an impersonation of Donald Trump reacting to Donald Trump impersonations.
Okay. All right.
Which is so dope. And I figured at this point in the show, it's time for a good laugh. Don't you think?
Yeah, always.
What if this was actually Donald Trump? All right, here we go.
I do different Trumps, too. I do Donald Trump shitting on other Trump impressions. So, like, I'll tell you what, Zach, there are so many people that try to do me. You see the failed Alec Baldwin? Baldwin comes out on SNL, which used to be a lot funnier back in the day with Chevy Chase. But Baldwin goes like this. He goes, "We've got a great show. Boopity 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 boo." I don't do that. I never say boopity boo. You see Stephen Colbert? He comes out like, "I know a dot 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 a dot dot a dot 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 a China." I don't say the dot dot dot. And the last one is Jimmy Fallon. He touched my hair like a dog. And Jimmy Fallon, he goes, "Okay, we're rolling. Okay, I don't do these moves. They're all wrong."
Bro. Get out of here with this
Those are on
They're
point,
so
dude.
good. Listen, man, I don't care whatever who's that comedian? I don't care who you are. That's it's funny. Who used to say that?
That's
I don't
Larry
care.
the Cable Guy.
Oh, is that Larry the Cable Guy?
Yeah.
Dude, that is I don't care who you are. If you don't
that's
think
funny.
Donald Trump impersonations are funny, the guy he's got to be the most impersonated president of all time, right?
I mean, they keep getting worse. George Bush was impersonated a lot, too.
Can
But-
we compare the two? Like, is it I mean, do you think there's a shot that George Bush could potentially?
What was that one that where he's like, "Fool me once"?
You
That
fool me
one
once?
got- that
yeah,
one
that
got-
was good.
That one got used a lot.
Yeah, he also responded to the "not gonna do it." I think that was what Dana Carvey or whoever. Yeah, dude, Bush was very impersonable.
I think Trump's are funnier though.
Dude, the guy
when
is.
somebody can get a good Donald Trump impersonation.
It's fucking impersonation gold.
Yeah.
The guy he's like a cartoon character.
yeah.
So it's easy to do impersonations of. I wish I could do a good Donald Trump.
yeah.
I don't know. I would just feel way better about myself and my status in life if I can do a really good Donald Trump impersonation. And when I saw that video, I was like, I'm going to share this with the world. Maybe I'll do it on the podcast so I can get a couple laughs.
Matt
in a
Friend
world of,
is the guy.
Matt Friend, yeah, go follow that guy. He's pretty hilarious. I skimmed. I didn't have much time, but I skimmed through his page. He's got some other impersonations. I don't know if they're good or not, but
Who's that big impersonating comedian?
Ari Spears,
No.
that guy does like music.
White guy. Short, fat white guy.
I don't know, bro.
Never mind.
I don't know. You're gonna look it up. I don't know.
I will.
Tell
I'll
me.
pop in here in a couple minutes with it.
All right, let's move on to one more topic I want to talk about. I don't even really know how to talk about this. I've got another quick reaction to kind of spark a little bit of a conversation with regard to Hawaii. Okay. Because there's a lot of shit going on in the Hawaii sphere right now. Okay, in the Hawaii sphere. And the Hawaii sphere is there's some shit. We got Zuckerberg building a multi-$100 million bunker. State of the art escape. We've got the Lahaina fires.
Frank Caliendo.
I wouldn't even know who that was.
Okay. But
I'm not surprised I don't know who it was. So hopefully, send me a link or something. If you see something that I should see,
okay,
send it. So anyway, there's just a lot of shit going on in Hawaii, and they at some point I understand the powers that be have made claims that Hawaii will be where the first 15-minute cities are. I've also heard claims that when shit
goes, what all that land's for?
Well, I mean, what if? You see what I did there? You see? You like that approach? I knew you're much more passive than I am. So and non-confrontational. I think you like to try and more
peacemaker.
More peacefully make a point. Although I don't know. I'm not going to say perfectly in line with me. We're in line on a lot of things, not in line on others.
Sure. Sports.
But I knew you'd like this. I knew you'd like this format. And I do too, man, because here's another thing. Not to go back to this, but when I leave this show, when we get heated and we talk about this shit that I believe literally is the intentional destruction of our country and the abolishment of a free nation that my kids are going to have to deal with and my grandkids are going to have to deal with, when I talk about that and we talk about the what ifs and the shit that I know I'm seeing with my own eyes is happening, we leave this studio, man.
Negative space.
Yeah, dude, we leave this studio. Like, we deliver this because we feel like it's our duty to talk. And I could tell you, I get to, when I go out in town, when I go out to work, when I go out and I see people, I get told every day, I get told by one or more or several people, either online or in person, dude, keep doing it. Keep telling that truth. Keep talking. Keep using your voice. Keep using your platform. And I'm like, man, it's hard.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's hard. It's dark. It sucks sometimes. So, but I do think, if we can just bring, you've always said, let's bring a humor aspect to it. And I always say, well, in my opinion, there's nothing.
Not funny.
Yeah, it's not fucking funny. So I don't want to bring a humorous aspect to it because I don't want to make light of it. If I can bring myself to laugh about it, great. But if I can bring it in a little bit more of a positive spirit and just, promote that thought, maybe it'll lighten the burden that we carry.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because we, like you had just mentioned, we feel like it needs to be talked about, it needs to be said, and we need to spread the word. But we were getting to a point where it was just like, man, can we keep doing this? And we needed an adjustment without completely just changing the entire podcast to something opposite of what's going on in the world, which we didn't want to do. We needed another approach to it, and I think that's a great approach. That's gonna, like you said, alleviate the doom and gloom aspect while still talking about it and bringing it up.
Yeah, dude. It's people ask why. We took a little bit of time off over the holidays. To try and just refigure and rethink our mission and rethink. I don't think our mission's moving, but right. Rethink our approach and rethink our approach is the best word probably, sure. But our operational workflow, our approach, our messaging, and how does that affect us? I mean, we needed a break. We need time. And the people, the freedom fighters out there who have been doing this for years, dude, this is not an easy task. I talked to a doctor not long ago. One of my kids was, in on a visit, and he tells me, man, I follow you. I watch what you're doing, and I'm like, man, that's pretty cool, and he's a freedom fighter guy, patriotic guy, cares, believes in our mission and believes what we're saying. But in the same breath of air, he tells me, I can't say anything. You got to keep saying it. I can't say everything. I can't say it because I've gotten to a point where if I say something like, I could lose my medical license.
Right.
And I'm like, you mean getting barred from reenlistment from the United States Army for speaking your mind and them finding a way to persecute you that wasn't blatant persecution so they can like, what do you mean? No, we all need to speak our mind. But anyway, to that point, this is not for everybody. I understand, even though I do believe it needs to be for everybody, and we all need to be willing to lose everything.
If that point right there doesn't make you understand that freedom of speech is under attack, what will?
My response to him was, that's because you have lost your freedom.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I was wearing a hat that says, "Make America free again." And people look at me and go, what does that mean? I'm like, can you... Oh, this one says, "Make America good again."
Yeah, same.
Yeah. What do you mean? What does that mean? We're not free? No, we're not free. What if we weren't free? What if they were controlling the words we had to say, that we could and could not say? Well, we're still free. You can do whatever you want. Well, if you can lose your license to practice medicine that you've spent 25 years investing your life into, and if you say something that you believe is truth, and you can lose your degree, you can lose your license to practice medicine as a doctor, are you free? No.
I would say no.
The answer is no. You don't have the freedom of speech. You have the illusion. What if we had the illusion of freedom? What if we have been pumped with so much propaganda in our lives? You know, what if? Like, what if, since we were born, this patriotic America, home of the brave, land of the free mantra has been pumped into our brains so much that we as a society, which we obviously know are, moldable, like easy to influence, searching for meaning and purpose in all the things. What if that was all a part of a big nationwide, worldwide propaganda campaign to make us believe that we were free, while at the same time they were taxing us into slavery and increasing taxes incrementally over the course of years to where we are no longer financially free. And incrementally over the course of years, they were slowly chipping away at the meaning of words to where eventually they could say, you can't say that even though it's true. You can't say a boy is a boy because you don't know. And we're like, well, hold on a second. Yeah, I do. What if? What if that were the case? I mean, what would that mean? Like, literally, and when I do this, and when we do this, and when I do this individually, I want to say, what if? Like, I don't want to just say, what if you think about it? I want to say, what if, and I want to have the discussion. What if that was true? Fuck, what would that mean for us? It's a big deal.
That's a scary proposition.
Yeah, and I think the what ifs are what, kind of invoke that fear that hopefully people will, try to wake up on. Anyway, I guess I was going to talk about Hawaii. I might as well. I don't know if we have time. We don't have time. Let's talk about it next week.
Okay.
You want to talk about it next week?
Sure.
Let's do this. I got a little clip that I want to play.
Okay.
We'll play that. We'll discuss it for maybe like a minute or two. See if it invokes some good creative thought, and maybe we'll do another episode about it. What do you think? All right.
Bingo.
Here we go. This chick's name, I'll explain her name afterwards. Here we go.
The state of Hawaii made history today after the state Supreme Court said their state constitution does not afford a right to carry firearms in public places for self-defense. But if you thought that was bad, it gets a lot worse. The state Supreme Court's ruling actually said, and I quote, "As the world turns, it makes no sense for society to pledge allegiance to the founding era's culture, realities, laws, and understanding of the Constitution." So correct me if I'm misinterpreting this, but everything that made America America no longer makes sense in modern society. You might not be a huge Second Amendment advocate or a fan of firearms yourself, and that's okay. You don't have to be. I am. But when we say that the entire Constitution itself no longer makes sense for modern society, that means your right to freely express yourself, your right to freely worship, your right to protest people in power, your right to gather with people who share your values, your right to due process, equal rights for your identity under law, your right to vote. Everything is up for grabs. And the entire system that our founding fathers set up in 1776 wasn't so that the government could give and take your rights away. It was that your rights are inalienable to you, that no government, no elected official, no state Supreme Court has the opportunity to take your basic rights and treat them like privileges that they can give and take away.
Dude, I would say that it's more relevant now more than ever.
Bro.
Like,
no. Like, what if this was exactly the reason why they made the document how they
right?
made the
It's almost
document?
like they could see the future.
The Constitution is literally created, put in place by our founders to prevent a tyrannical government from taking over our rights.
So what would the first thing a tyrannical government would want you to second guess,
Bro.
other than the very document giving you
And-
all the rights?
And so that's the Hawaii thing. Like, we've got the, like, is Hawaii going to be this sanctuary? Like, well, what do they need to do? What if they're planning on Hawaii being this sanctuary from, I don't know, maybe a nuclear war, or maybe complete takeover of the mainland, or maybe this is where the wealthy elites, I mean, we know Oprah, we know Obama, we know The Rock, we know all these people have, hundreds of acres of the most expensive, beautiful land arguably on the planet. We know that there was magical fires in Lahaina. We know that there's been nothing done yet. We know that insurance companies I'm in the fire damage restoration. I could tell you right now, a whole damn town in Hawaii burns down, built on, some high-end homes, a whole neighborhood.
They didn't bring in anybody for help.
I can tell you right now, I don't know a single person in our industry that's restoring property there. Insurance companies aren't paying. And now this? I don't know, man.
Things that make you go,
I want to know what's happening. I need answers. Maybe that's what we should do. We should do another segment, the I Need Answers segment. Because I don't know, man. I think it's weird. I think it's weird.
Definitely
If
weird.
nothing else. Anyway, well, more to follow on that. Maybe next episode we will we'll dive into that. What do you think?
Sure.
Okay. You want to drink some more whiskey?
Yeah.
You dipped into the rye, I see.
Yeah.
You didn't even pour me one?
You were still sipping. I didn't want to rush you.
Well, it's really good though.
Yeah.
What do you think of
you
this
gotta-
young ass whiskey? This
Dude.
American Purpose whiskey, baby.
Makes me very excited as it ages.
Dude, I think it's gonna be really, really good.
So if it gets better from there, I mean,
It only gets better.
come on.
Yeah, I think there's some diminishing returns beyond maybe like 10 or 12 years. There's different different theories in the business of when the prime flavor profile is in the barrel aging process.
Oh.
So the 22s and the 24s might not have, although they're the oldest, and they do
Might not be as good.
They might not. Yeah, they might not yield the best flavor. Now they're the most expensive, simply put, because of evaporation. There's less product.
Well, yeah. Time invested, I imagine, would
Right.
have a
More money
role in
invested, more time, but the time investment isn't major in the grand scheme of things. If you got a barrel, rick house or rack house, a barrel storage warehouse filled with
Throw it in there, forget
4,000
about it.
barrels. Yeah, and you got 10 of them that are sitting in there for 20 years instead of 10 years. It's not really, moving the bottom line much, but you do lose, call it 3 to 5% per year in evaporation. So just based on scarcity, as the barrel ages, you have less bottles to produce. That drives the price up because
Makes
you have less
sense.
quantity. But yeah, not all older whiskeys equate to more flavorful whiskeys. But I have a
Interesting.
sneaking suspicion when this thing's about 4 years old.
That's a sweet spot.
I think so. I think probably 6 is the sweet spot. But I think this thing's gonna fucking turn heads at 4 years old. It's gonna be awesome.
Don't doubt it.
Anyway, man. All right. Well, I think it was a fun show. Lighthearted. We got some fun.
If you
things.
enjoyed it, be a friend, tell a friend.
Oh, there you go.
Let's spread this thing. Get
Yeah.
the word out. Make some people better, hopefully.
Share the damn show is what you're saying. Like,
What
share,
if?
What if?
you shared the show?
Listen, we've got a group of people who share our show, and anytime I see our show pop across someone's feed, I want you to know it means the absolute world to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fact that we've got people who follow along, who inspire us, who we are inspiring, and who believe in our mission, are sharing our message. It means the world to me personally, and I know it does you.
Absolutely.
But if you believe in our mission, to preserve our freedom and preserve the American way of life, traditional American way of life, where we get to say what we know is truth and what we believe is truth without fear of persecution and repercussions, share the show so you can help support the mission that you believe in. So not even support of us, support of American freedom and the American way of life.
Bam.
Well, I assume you don't have anything left to say because you said bam, and I think that's
my ending.
That's your ending.
Mhm.
All right.
Bam, boom.
Well, dude, I
Kapow.
appreciate you being here. Thanks for, I know you're thanks for taking time out of your busy pants dropping schedule to come into the
Got a lot
studio and
going on.
record a new show. I appreciate it. Anyway, people, thank you again for your support. And as always, find your purpose, serve your purpose, and protect your purpose, people. Peace.